before exam we did this one, Fourier transform for a rectangular pulse. Okay, so on this we have seen what are the properties of this Fourier representation for different periodic and non-periodic signal. Okay, we did also inverse Fourier transform of a rectangular pulse. We have seen the sinc function, all those things. What is the Fourier transform for a unit impulse? Okay, and at last we have been in the linearity and symmetry property of the Fourier transform. Okay, and we have seen all those things for the linearity property. Next we'll start with symmetry property, that is real and imaginary signals. What is the symmetry property been exist for a real and imaginary signal? It is visible, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. With respect to real and imaginary signal. Okay, so let us take an signal xt. Okay, we have been taking an signal xt and we supposed to consider its conjugate symmetry. We supposed to find out the conjugate symmetry of that. So if we are having an input signal xt, we can easily find out its Fourier transform, right? So a signal xt, if it has been given, so what will be this Fourier transform? X of j omega is integration minus infinite to infinite xt e to the power minus j omega t dt. Okay, so this is the Fourier transform of x of t. Okay, this is the Fourier transform of x of t. Now let us take the conjugate of this. Taking conjugate of x of j omega, that is conjugate x of j omega is minus infinite to infinite. We need to take the conjugate of this expression, that is x of t e to the power minus j omega t dt and its conjugate. Okay, so what will happen? This minus j will be plus j and this x of t will be x conjugate of t. So this one will become minus infinite to infinite x conjugate t e to the power j omega t and dt, right? Now if our xt is a real signal, then we can say this conjugate of xt is same as x of t. Just try to understand. If our xt is real, if this xt is real, then what we can write? If xt is real, then we can write this x conjugate of t is same as x of t. Okay, so we supposed to use this value over here. So our x conjugate of j omega will become minus infinite to infinite. This is x of t, and we can write for this minus of j plus of j omega t as minus j minus omega t dt, right? So what does it mean? This minus of omega means x of minus of j omega. So what we can write this one as x of minus of j omega. Just try to think. If this is previously the expression was minus j of omega t, now it is minus j minus of omega t. So we can write this one as an Fourier transform, that is x of minus of j omega. Okay, so we can say that this conjugate of j omega is x of minus of j omega when we are considering our xt is real. Okay, so if you take that x j omega is complex conjugate or x star of this j omega is minus this one, then we can say that taking real and imaginary part of this expression, we can find out what is the transformation been coming out. Okay, now I am just writing like this. Then taking the real and imaginary part of this expression, if we take the real and imaginary part of this expression, then what we can say, that real of x of j omega is real of, because these two are same, then we can say it is same as real of x of minus of j omega. Okay, and imaginary part of x of j omega is minus of imaginary part of x of minus of j omega. Just try to understand. This conjugate of this x of j omega is coming out as x of minus of j omega. So if we go with real and imaginary value of this x of j omega, then what we can write, that real of this x of j omega is same as real value of this x of minus j omega. But if we go with the imaginary value, so imaginary value will be obviously 1 minus will come, because it is x of minus of j omega. Okay, so conjugate means minus of j omega. So if one is a plus jb, then the conjugate which is x of minus of j omega, it will be x of, that is imaginary part is minus of that imaginary part, that is minus of jb. One is a plus jb, another is a minus of jb. Okay, so in other words we can say, if xt is real valued, that is if our given xt, if it is real valued, then the real part of the transform, that is this Fourier transform, is an even function of frequency. Just try to understand. Then the real part of the transform, real part of the Fourier transform is an even function of frequency, and the imaginary part is an odd function of frequency. Part is odd function of frequency. Why? Because we have been proved that this conjugate of x of j omega, that is Fourier transform of, if we take the conjugate of this Fourier transform for the given xt signal, then it is coming out as x of minus of j omega. When we are considering xt is real valued function. So what we can say, if we have been taking the real part of this x of j omega, then it is coming out as, if we go with this real part, then it is same. But if we go with the imaginary part of x of j omega, then it is coming out as the negative. So as a whole we can say the real part of the Fourier transform is an even function, because these two are same, though we have been interchanging the frequency axis, we have been going into the left hand side, it is same as the right hand side, but it is negative of the left hand side if we have been considering the imaginary part. So we can say this real part of the Fourier transform is an even function, and the imaginary part is odd function of frequency. Okay, so this also implies that magnitude spectrum, this magnitude real function, real part is the magnitude part, this magnitude spectrum is an even function, while the phase spectrum is an odd function, because we have been getting the phase from this imaginary part, that is if it is a plus jb, then b by a. Okay, so we can say that magnitude spectrum is an even function and phase spectrum is an odd function. magnitude spectrum is even function and phase spectrum is odd function. Okay, so this thing is equally applicable for other transformations also. Okay, so if we conclude this property, this symmetry property, then if we go with this representation, different kinds of representation, and we are taking in real valued time signal, and as well as we are taking imaginary valued time signal, so Fourier transform representation, if we are going with Fourier transform representation, then conjugate of this x of j omega for the real value time signal, it will same as x of minus of j omega. But if the real valued signal is been, imaginary valued signal is been taken, then the conjugate of this x of j omega will result into minus of x of minus of j omega, like this. Okay, now if we take the Fourier series, then it is represented in terms of k. K is the frequency spectrum, it is same as x of minus k. Then if we go with this imaginary valued signal, it is minus of x of minus k. If we go with discrete time signal, discrete time aperiodic signal, that is DTFT, then we have been taking e to the power j omega, it is same as x e to the power minus of j omega. And for the imaginary valued signal, if you go with this conjugate, then this one will result into minus. If we go with DTFS, it is x of minus k, same as Fourier series, minus of x of minus k. Okay, so if we start with the first part, that is what we did, we have taken a signal xt. So for that signal xt, we have been found the Fourier transform. Okay, next we have taken the conjugate of this Fourier transform, that is x conjugate of j omega. So what we have been found, that it is same as x of minus of j omega. Means if we take the conjugate of the Fourier transform of xt, it is same as if we go in the left hand side, if the origin is here, if we go in the left hand side of that Fourier transform, means we are having the Fourier transform in the right hand side. If you take the conjugate of that Fourier transform, it will result into the Fourier transform, it will result into the transformation which exists in the left hand side, and these two are same, and it is only possible when xt is real. Okay, so what we have been saying, that the real value of this x of j omega, this transformation, that is when xt is real, then real part of this Fourier transform, is an even function of frequency. Means whatever there, it is same as the mirror image. You can say it is same as the mirror image. Whatever is there in the right hand side, it is same as in the left hand side. But if we go with the imaginary value of this x of j omega, when our xt is real, then it results into an odd function of frequency. It results into an odd function of frequency because one minus is been there. Because our conjugate part, our conjugate of this transformation, it is same as the x of minus of j omega. It is, and it is possible when xt is real. when our xt is real. So we can say the real value of this transformation, it is same as whatever exists in the right hand side, it is same as in the left hand side. But whenever we have been coming with the immediate part, then it results into an odd function. So same consequence we can, or same results or same conclusion we can take for the other transformations also. Okay, so let us take an input signal xt, an example. Let us consider an example that our xt is a cos omega t minus phi. Let us consider an signal, input signal xt is like that. Okay, so when it is been given to a system, then we can easily find out the output depending upon the impulse response of the system. If we have the known impulse response of the system, then we can easily expect what is the output due to this input. Okay, so what it says that complex conjugate symmetry in the Fourier transform, due to this symmetry in the Fourier transform, leads to a simple characterization of the output of an LTI system. When our LTI system has been given, so conjugate symmetry will leads to a simple characterization. So how we are doing the characterization of that? With the real valued impulse response when the input is real valued sinusoid. Okay, so let us consider this signal is given to an LTI system. It is given to an LTI system. So if we have the known complex conjugate symmetry in the Fourier transform, if we know the complex conjugate symmetry property of the Fourier transform of this xt, then when it has been given to an LTI system, then the output which is been produced, it is due to the consequences of the simple characterization of the output. So let us find how it is. So let us consider the impulse response is also an real valued impulse response of this LTI system. This LTI system impulse response is real value. Okay, now for this xt we can expand this one by Euler's formula. So this xt can be written as, it is a by 2 e to the power j of omega t minus phi plus a by 2 e to the power minus j of omega t minus phi using Euler's formula. Okay, now what will be the output of this LTI system yt? It is simply as the multiplication of the Fourier transform of this h of t, impulse response is real value, that is h of t, with this response of the Fourier transform of this x of t. So I am just writing that one as h of j omega, which will get multiplied with this a by 2, this constant part, and the argument of this h of j omega will get added with this, that is e to the power j omega t minus phi plus argument of h of j omega plus this h of minus of j omega, which will get multiplied with this a by 2 e to the power minus j omega t minus phi minus argument of h of minus of j omega. Okay, so as it maintains the symmetry property, to symmetry property, what we can say, this h of j omega, this magnitude h of j omega, it is same as h of minus of j omega. and the argument h of j omega is same as minus of this argument. Why? Because this is real part and this is imaginary part. If you can remember, this is real part and this is imaginary part. Okay, so what we can write about this y of t? Y of t, we can use this one as same this one. So h of mod of h of j omega will be common. Then this one, this part and this part will become cos function. It is cos, it is same as this one, only addition is the argument part. Omega t minus phi plus argument of h of j omega. So this is the output of that LTI system when we have considered the impulse response is real value. When our impulse response is real valued for that LTI system, then we can easily find out the output of that system yt as like this. So what we can say, the system modifies the amplitude of the input signal by this factor h of j omega and the phase by the argument h of j omega. Okay, so if we plot this xt and this output yt, let us consider this is our xt. Xt is a cos omega t minus phi, a cos omega t minus phi, then it is a cosine function, right? So something like this. Okay, if it is 0, then like this. So this a. So if we are going with this time axis, then at any point the time can be find out as phi by omega, right? This time can be found out as phi by omega. So this one will be phi by omega will be exactly at t is equal to 0, right? So this phase part of this signal will be phi by omega, this phi by omega at t is equals to 0, right? So same, if we have been taking this yt, so this yt will have the modified amplitude of a into h of j omega, right? So let us consider this one. Now it becomes like this. So this is our y of t. So this amplitude will be h into a into h of j omega. So at any part, this phase will be phi minus argument of h of j omega by omega, right? So in this way we can find out the output of a system due to the symmetry property. Okay, same we can go with the discrete time LTI system also. We can go with the discrete time LTI system. If we are having the discrete time LTI system, then this h of j omega will become h e to the power j of omega. Okay, so next property is our even and odd signal. Okay, so let us consider xt is again a real valued function and has even symmetry. Okay, so let xt is real valued and has even symmetry. Okay, so what we can write, this conjugate of xt, this conjugate of xt is same as x of t, and as it is having an even symmetry, then what we can write, that x of t is same as x of minus of t. Okay, real valued and as well as even symmetry. So from this two, what we can write, that x conjugate of t is same as x of minus t. Therefore what we can write, x conjugate of t is same as x of minus of t. So again we are supposed to take the Fourier transform, and again taking the conjugate of that. So x conjugate of j omega is minus infinity to infinity x of t to the power j omega t dt, and taking the conjugate. So here this one will be x conjugate t e to the power j omega t dt, right? Minus that one is becoming plus. So here we are putting this value, x of minus t e to the power minus j, then omega, then minus t dt, something like that. Let us consider. Now let us take another variable, tau is same as minus t. Okay, so what will happen after that, if we take something like this, then x conjugate of j omega, so this one will represent to d tau is equals to dt is equals to minus of d tau. So this one is minus infinity to infinity x of tau e to the power j omega minus j omega tau, then this one will be minus of d tau, right? So if we are taking this one as minus, then this one will become plus and this one is minus, right? Because minus t is equals to minus infinity, then it will become plus. So if you take this minus here, then it is changing to minus infinite to infinite x of tau e to the power minus j omega tau d tau, right? So it is same as x of j omega, it is same as x of j omega, right? Now the variable, independent variable is tau in place of t. So what we can write here, x conjugate of j omega is same as x of j omega. Okay, so this condition is possible if and only if the imaginary part of x of j omega is 0. Okay, so this is true when imaginary part of x of j omega is 0, right? Just try to understand. The conjugate of this x of j omega is same as x of j omega. When it is possible? It is possible only when, if we are having a plus jb, so conjugate will become a minus jb, then a plus jb and a plus a minus jb is same only when this imaginary part is 0, right? When jb is simply 0. So what we can say, this, if xt is real and even, what we can say, if xt, this given signal, is real, what we have been considered, and even, then x of j omega is real. X of j omega is real because it only holds when imaginary part is completely 0. Okay, similarly if xt is real and odd, then what will happen? This conjugate of x of j omega will become minus x of j omega, and the x of j omega is imaginary. Okay, so first is xt is real and even, then it is possible when this holds and it results into x of j omega is a real value, because real and even means this conjugate is same as x of j omega, right? So it is only possible when x of j omega is real. Now if our xt is real and odd, then this conjugate of this x of j omega will result into minus of x of j omega, and our x of j omega will become imaginary. Clear? Any doubt up to this? Any doubt? Next we are supposed to see the convolution property, defined convolution property. So convolution property, first convolution of non-periodic signal, which is very important. Convolution of non-periodic signal. So let us consider convolution of two non-periodic continuous time signal xt and ht. Consider the convolution of continuous time signals xt and h of t. So what we can write as the yt, the convolution between these two signal, yt is h of t convolution xt or xt convolution h of t. So this one will become integration minus infinite to infinite h of tau x of t minus tau d tau, right? Now if we suppose to express this x of t minus t tau in terms of Fourier transform, expressing x of t minus tau in Fourier transform, then what we can write? X of t minus tau as 1 by 2 pi integration minus infinite to infinite x of j omega e to the power minus j omega t minus tau d omega, right? In terms of its Fourier transform. Okay, so we supposed to use this value over here, that is y of t is integration minus infinite to infinite h of tau, then we supposed to use this value there 1 by 2 pi integration minus infinite to infinite x of j omega e to the power minus, sorry, it is not minus, it is plus minus when it will be inverse of that. So j omega t minus tau d omega, and it is d tau. Okay, now we are doing some manipulation on that. We are taking out this 1 by 2 pi, then integration minus infinite to infinite third bracket minus infinite to infinite h of tau e to the power minus j omega tau d tau. We are taking that only, bracket close, then x of j omega e to the power j omega t d omega. So what is this? It is h of j omega, right? It is inverse Fourier transform of h of tau, right? So we can say y of t is 1 by twice pi integration minus infinite to infinite h of j omega x of j omega into the power j omega t d omega, right? So this inner integral, this one is as the Fourier transform h of tau. It is the Fourier transform of h of tau. So this h of j omega and x of j omega as the Fourier transform of y of t. Okay, right? So this is the same as the Fourier transform. This one, it is same as this one. So what we can say, that h of j omega into x of j omega as the Fourier transform of y of t. This h of j omega multiplied with x of j omega as the Fourier transform of y of t. So what we can conclude? We can conclude that convolution of ht and xt in the time domain corresponds to multiplication of their Fourier transform, that is h of j omega and x of j omega, right? So the convolution of ht and x of t in the time domain corresponds to multiplication of their Fourier transforms, that is h of j omega and x of j omega, right? Getting or not? This is the convolution which results into the multiplication of the Fourier transform of h of j omega and x of j omega. Okay, and this is in the frequency domain. So what we can write? Y of t is the convolution of ht and x of t. If you take the Fourier transform of this, then this one will result into y of j omega is equals to x of j omega into h of j omega. Okay, so it is one of the most important property, that if we need to take the convolution between the two time domain signal, so it's better first we have been taking the Fourier transform and simply multiplication between these two, it is same as the convolution in the time domain. It is same as the convolution in the time domain. Okay, so here we did all the manipulation. First we have taken this signal and we have been found out the Fourier transform of this and we have been used here. After doing some manipulation between these two, then we have been results into this. So this is same as the Fourier transform of h of tau, that is h of j omega. Okay, and this is same as the Fourier transform of y of t, that is y of j omega. So y of j omega is same as the convolution, same as the multiplication between h of j omega and x of j omega. Fine. Now let us take a problem for this property. Some xt is given, as 1 by pi t sine of pi t, and the impulse response h of t is given as 1 by pi t into sine of twice pi t. So we need to find out the output yt as the convolution between this xt and h of t. So easiest way is to find out the convolution of these two, Fourier transform of these two, and doing the multiplication, it is same as the doing convolution. Okay, so if we go with the Fourier transform of this x of t, what will be that? If you can remember, Fourier transform, that is x of j omega, it is 1 for omega less than pi and 0 for omega greater than pi. It is same as a rectangular pulse. It is sinc function. If you take this one in here, then it will result into a sinc function. So sinc function in time domain results into a rectangular pulse into the in frequency domain. Same, if we are taking this h of t, taking the Fourier transform h of j omega, it is same, but here this omega range is up to twice pi. So this yt, this y of t, which is the convolution of this xt and h of t, so it is simply taking the Fourier transform. So this one will result into y of j omega and multiplication between these two Fourier transform. So this results into y of j omega as 1. We need to take the smallest interval between these two, less than pi and 0 for omega greater than pi. So this is results into, if we take the yt from this, then yt will become again 1 by pi t sine of pi t. Fine. So similarly we can go with this dtft also. If you take the case of dtft, then it is same. Some xn is given. First we need to take the dtft, that will result into x of e to the power j omega. Same, some hn is given. We need to take the dtft of this, then this will result into h of e to the power j omega. Then y of n, this is xn convolution with h of n. It is, if you take the dtft of this, then it will result into same y e to the power j omega multiplication between these two, x e to the power j omega into h e to the power j omega. Okay. Next is the convolution of periodic signal. That was non-periodic signal. Now convolution of periodic signal. Okay. So the main problem arises here is that, so convolution of periodic signal, it is not occur naturally in the context of evaluating the input-output relationship of a system. So normally when we are taking the convolution between two signals, it naturally or generally results into the output of a system, or we are supposed to establish an input-output relationship between the of a system by taking the convolution. But when we have been considering an periodic signal, so convolution of periodic signal, it is not occur naturally in the context of evaluating the input-output relationship, because it makes the system response unstable. A periodic signal, when it has been applied for an infinite amount of time, so it generally results into an instability of the system. So generally for this reason, we are not be considering convolution of periodic signal for knowing the input-output relationship. Rather we are doing this for signal analysis or any kind of signal manipulation. We are doing the convolution of periodic signal normally for signal analysis and some kind of manipulation if we require, but not at all for establishing any relationship between the input-output of a system. So for this case, when we are considering periodic signal, we have been considering a single period. The integration, previously the integration over minus infinite to infinite, but for periodic signal we are considering this integration for a period. Now let us consider two continuous time signal xt and z of t, each having the period of t, fundamental period of t. Okay. So let the periodic convolution of two continuous time signals xt and z of t, each having period t. So this yt is the convolution between this xt. For this case the convolution symbol is like this, and zt. So what will be this integration? Integration is over a period from 0 to t. So it is x tau z of t minus tau or d tau. So this, the symbol this one denotes the integration is performed over a single period, denotes the integration performed over a single period. Okay. The result yt is also periodic with period t. Okay. So this, so for this case I am just writing this one. The result yt is also periodic.
Hello sir.
Yes.
सर मेरे पास के सुबह से क्लास अब रहने दीजिए, नेक्स्ट क्लास में कंटिन्यू कीजिएगा.
With period t, within 5 minutes I will complete this property.
ओके सर.
With period t, the result yt is also periodic with period t. So when we have been considering about periodic signal, we need to consider Fourier series rather Fourier transform, because Fourier transform is for a periodic signal, Fourier series is for the periodic signal. So the Fourier series is the appropriate representation, right? The Fourier series is the appropriate representation for this three signals. Three signals, what are this? XT, ZT and YT. Okay. So if we substitute this Fourier series representation of ZT, if we substitute over here, then what we can find? This YT, what we have considered? Convolution between these two. What we are doing? We are doing Fourier series for the frequency of omega. Then what we can find? That y of k is t into x of k z of k. Okay, so I hope you understand how this k has been coming, because if we have been going with this x of k, then it is 1 by t integration 0 to 2s by xt e to the power j omega t dt. Okay, so this is the convolution of a periodic signal, of convolution between two periodic signal. This is the easiest way to do convolution between two periodic signal. So these two periodic signals, if we take the Fourier series between these two, then simply doing the multiplication with this period, then that will result into the convolution. So when two periodic signal is given, so if we need to take the convolution between these two, then simply for a periodic signal we need to go with the Fourier series, then multiplication between these two Fourier series along with this period t, that will result into the convolution of the periodic signal. Okay, so same way we can do for the discrete signal also. So for a discrete signal, here it is continuous time signal. If you take discrete time signal, then y of n, it is x of n convolution with z of n. So what we are doing, basically we are taking dtfs here within the fundamental frequency of twice pi by n, then this one will result into y of k n into x of k, then multiplied with z of k. Okay, fine. So we have been concluding up to this.